Alright, it is 10:58 p.m. and this is going to be the weekly recap from the 4th of April to the 8th of April. And I had a lot of trades. It's going to be a while probably to go over every single one of them, but I had a total of 15 trades, and of those 15 trades I had, looks like two that were actually three that were speculative, so I didn't trade necessarily a large size. This was just a trade where, in theory, I'm in this setup and it's not a lot of money. I'm not gonna make anything or lose very much if it doesn't work out, but it's going to be something that I can learn from, some kind of trading experience. And I had those three trades there, but in total I had 15 trades, and nine of those trades were green, and that leads that to be a 60% winning percentage. And a lot of these trades, I didn't make or lose anything. They were break-even trades, so that has to go into account as well. And I really like the stats. If I could add like one, two, or three zeros to it, I think that would be super nice. But my average dollar gain, as you can see, was $4.55. My average dollar loss was 60 cents. My average percent gain, really nice. I don't think I've ever seen one this high before, 3.66%, and that's because I had one really nice percent gain here with PUGE. That was a 13% gain, and my average percent loss was 0.3%. My average position size on the winning trades ended up being 187. This is the only thing that could have been better. My average position on the losing trade was a bit larger, but that's fine. And that's off of this trade, I believe. This one actually, and this one. These were two actual trades where I was trying to go for the proper dollar risk level, and it didn't work out. And the average time in the trade was longer than the average time in the losing trade, so might have had to have cut losses very quickly on a losing trade, on a losing setup. And I made $35 on the week, trading $2,300 of trading volume, which is 1.5%. I'd like to see that get higher, but this is a really good improvement, and I hope I can continue to do better. Let's go ahead and go over the setups one by one. I feel kind of bloated. I had a lot of cake. It was like a birthday party thing. But yeah, let's go over the trades one by one. And let's start with AABB. And this is a morning panic bounce play. Now, when I put the time like this, 9:32 a.m., that means I got in at what is normally really early in terms of the time period. But let's just first look at it. AABB for the 4th. Fourth is right here. It did look like a downtrend, not the best, but let's go ahead and look at the chart. It looks like it did uptrend the rest of the day, which is impressive, from the 10s to the 11s. So I guess a 10% move. Let me actually zoom in a bit more. And this was the trade right here. I was in at 9:32 flat at 10:21. So right here, in this green candle, 10:21, I got in right here. It looks like a morning panic bounce play, not the best, but it drops from 11 as low as 10, and then it even had the wick here right at 10, almost 10 exactly. And I was in it right here because it looked like it was a level 2 turnaround. And yeah, this was an early morning panic bounce play. I got out the next minute at 10:45 right here. I got out right here, and why did I get out the very next minute? Because it did get past VWAP, and that's always my goal, especially when it had the morning panic bounce play so early, the turnaround. And, with it above VWAP and it trading with a wide spread, it seems like I don't mind too much that I got out of my position here. It was a pretty good sell with all of that in mind, but something I do want to get better with this type of setup is to be able to sell half and then risk the other half of my entry, or maybe the original risk level, which would have been this level right here if it were to have come back to this 10 level, and then try to sell the other half on an uptrade, because a lot of them tend to do stuff like that. So that was a trade there with AABB. Let's look at DPLS and just okay, so that was a nice game, and I did trade close to my $10 risk level. Okay, let's look at DPLS for another morning panic bounce play on the 4th. Right about here. Not a very significant day, but let's take a look at it. I was in at 934, 484. Right here, 934. So this one clearly didn't work out, at least when I tried. 484 was when I got in. It looks like a warning panic bounce play. It drops from 52 as low as the 47. And then I'm in right here at this 484 level. And I got out the next minute at 484, the same price. So this was one of the first trades that I didn't make or lose anything. And that was at, again, the next minute at 935 right here. So yeah, why did I get in and out? Well, the idea was that was playing off of 48. I liked how I had the morning panic bounce play. It drops and then it breaks 48 just briefly. But when it breaks it just briefly and it comes back, I think that's the bottom. So I got in it for that reason at that 484 level. But when it came back and broke under the level here with the wick, that really threw me off, and I placed my sell order, and I was lucky enough to sell for a break even. And it did downtrend some more. As you can see, it got as low as 46, and then it did turn around, but this kind of threw me off. And you know, it did eventually play off the morning panic bounce rate. What I missed this turnaround. Overall, pretty happy with the way I traded this one. Not all the setups are going to work when I get in, and this was a good example of cutting losses quickly when I saw that the price action wasn't that nice. Let's look at AMC for the fourth. Trend line long, support reversal. Let's look at AMC. Right here. Let's actually kind of zoom out a little more. That looked kind of weird. This was it. It does look like it could try to reverse. You know, hold up, level, consolidate, and then uptrend later. Fourth is right here. I was in at 1028, 2216. Right here. Let me actually zoom in a bit more. Yeah, that's a lot better. Right here. 2216 was when I got in. And what did I get in? I think it was because it had a downtrend, right? And I thought it was going to play off of 22. It uptrends a little, and then it kind of comes back, and I thought maybe this could be like the higher low off of here, a new higher low, and it can continue the uptrend. But that wasn't the case. I was probably too bullish here, but I did get in for that reason, thinking it was going to turn around again at 1028, 2216. Right here. Clearly had a little bit more of a downtrend before it turned around, but I guess I had the right thing in mind, and this was because of a trend line breakdown. So if I can draw a trend line, let me see if I can do it. Maybe off of this. Right? It looked like it was trying to play off with this downtrending trend line. It probably looked better the way I had it on E-Trade. Maybe it was at a better level, but you can see how I broke the trend line. And, you know, in theory, it could try to reverse from here. Right? And I got in again at this 1026 level. And I thought it was just going to, you know, do something where it would break the trend line and then do the thing, and it makes a higher low and it keeps uptrending, right? But I didn't take into consideration that maybe it would do like a double bottom. It still broke the trend line clearly, and it did reverse. So I was just, you know, not the best with my entry, thinking it would just, you know, bounce immediately back, but that's fine. And yeah, I got out at 1029, 2212. So right here, right around here, and I probably got out because I was risking this level, this 2212 level. So when it broke it, I got out, and it did downtrend again. But you know, this was a double bottom, and it did turn around. I just wasn't, again, at the best point in terms of where my entry was. All right, let's look at the next trade, and that is AMC again. Okay, so maybe I did trade the double bottom. I was at 1034. Okay. I was in at 1034. Let's just say 22. I like that actually. That, I tried here, it didn't work, but then I saw the double bottom, and that's when I got in. Or at least in theory, it could be a double bottom. I can risk the wick right here, and it's a very easy point where I could be in a position, and if it breaks the wick, I get out immediately. But this thing could turn around again because it's showing that this level is going to be support and it's going to uptrend like it did here. I mean, it got to 23.63, which is nice for like a high priced, listed stock where you can buy a whole bunch of shares too. That's pretty cool. Right here at 1034, right? Yep, right at 22. That was my entry right here. And I got out 1039 at 22.18.5 was my average. Again, I was at 1039. Right here, 22.18. That's when I got out. I think I sold in two pieces. Let's see if I sold in two pieces. Yeah, that's something I've been doing recently. When the stock is working, I do take into consideration that maybe, if it's on a big uptrend, immediately after I get in, I sell half of my position. And then, if it comes back down and it fails, at least I sold half while it was still uptrending, and that can help me have like a break even or maybe a slightly red trade, but at least I'm not cutting my entire position for a loss if it doesn't work out. And then I sell the rest right here by the time I got to this 1039 level. In theory, this is something where I can try to develop where I'm in a setup, it works, it uptrends, and then it makes a higher low like it did here. And then I can continue to hold on to the position longer and maybe even size in more and, be able to make a lot more money. That's something I want to get better at. I didn't make too much because, as you can see here, there was a note that I didn't have the right amount of cash available. But in theory, I would have traded this profitably with even more size. Let's look at the next trade, which is PUGE high day breakout for the 5th. Yeah, pretty impressive. I'm going to zoom in a bit more since it was a high day breakout setup. I was in at 937.26. Right here, 937 is when I got in at 26. And yeah, in theory, it was trading this range right here in the morning. And I probably saw some nice level 2 price action, and I got in for that reason, thinking that it's going to break the 26 level and make a room towards the high, being the second day. That's uptrending, at least, the second big green day. You can say this could be a first green day right here because it did uptrend and also had a bunch of volume. So you could say this is the third day too. I'm going to call it this the second day, and yeah, it did break the high day. I got out at 940, 295. So right here, I got out at 940 right here. So I got out right about here. This was fine. This was like something out of my realm buying breakout setups instead of morning panic bounce plays or dip buys. But this thing made a nice move towards the highs and it went even higher. Definitely went higher. And I could have sold at 30 very easily. But yeah, that was a pretty cool trade. I did miss the higher low off of here. The first downtrend under VWAP and then the turnaround. Really sucks that I missed that one, but this was a pretty nice setup here. And I was trading according, or at least close to my $10 risk level, which is good. Let's just see what a sell at 30 would have been. Would have been a nice percent gain. Yeah, this was the biggest percent gain. I'm very happy that I had this. It's been a very, very long time since I've had a percent gain on a day trade that is over 10%. I'm very happy to have that. And it is pretty easy to do that with sub pennies, although they are very risky. Let's look at the next one, AHFD high day breakout. This one did not work out for the 5th. Right here. Yeah, you can see it was similar to PUG, except it did not work out. Let's look at the 5th. Oh, I think the chart on this is glitched. Let's see if it's glitched. This is technically supposed to be it. No, I think it's fine. Let's look. I was in at 10 o'clock 13. So that was right here. 13. This might have been it. You know, the thing was trading in the range, not as nice as PUGE because it's been doing this longer, but in theory, I probably got in because it looked like it was going to break the 13 level and then continue to be a nice move towards the upside, like a second day runner. And yeah, it just did not work out here, as you can see. And I did get out the next minute, actually, at 13, so 10:01. It did briefly break 13 a few times, but it didn't really do anything else, and I think it started a downtrend. No, it actually uptrended, okay. But it's so sketchy. I was trading it right here on this day in a 13 level, so didn't really work out, as you can see. And I got out because I didn't like the price action. And I got out mainly also because it broke a trend line. So I'm going to try to draw that trend line and see if it's what I was thinking about back then. Maybe off of here. If I can edit. Let me just remove it. I don't know. I think it was maybe off of this level. And I was in at 10 o'clock. I got out at 10:01. Yeah, I'm not really sure. It probably would have made more sense on my E-Trade platform, especially. You can see all my trades on Profitly. If you go back and look at the trade I had here, I have a screenshot of when I took that trade the same day, and it will probably show the trend line. But yeah, I mean, just based off of this trend line, I would have gone out of it too. It might have been actually off of that original level, maybe from here to here. It's hard to tell because, you know, it's been like several days after I took the trade. Yeah, clearly not this one. I'm not extremely sure off of where I played it off of. Maybe here. Right? Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, this one did not work out. And this was a attempt. And yeah, not all setups are going to work. And this was another one of those trades that I sold, bought and sold for the same price. So I didn't make or lose anything. Let's look at BSTO. And this is a VWAP did buy. This one did not work out. Let's look at BSTO for the 5th. Right here, yeah, very sketchy day. And the thing with this type of stock is that I think I was very cautious with this one because it didn't look like the kind of stock that could, you know, be something that can continue the uptrend over a longer period of time. Because it had a really bad history right here. No, it's kind of hard to tell on this chart, but you can see it had a day here previously in June where it just had a whole bunch of volume. It shot all the way up and it came back down. It had another one right here, right? That's something to look for when the stock is up on its first day. If you're worried if it's going to close strong, if it might sell off everything it made the same day, or maybe it just immediately sells off like the next few days. That's something to take into account for. This was the day that I traded it, as you can see, and it had more volume, but it clearly had a sign of a bad history. It's like considering dating a girl who just has a bad history of a certain bad habit, and you just, you know, don't want to buy it for that reason. You want to stay away from her and not date her just because it has that bad history. Let's go ahead and look on the minute chart right here. And yeah, let's zoom in right here since this was the day that I traded it. I was in at 10:30, not 10:34, 10:10:34 at 12. So let's look at 10:10. Right here was 10:10. I got in here at 12Y because at the time, you know, it had a crazy move. It went from 5 cents to 22 cents, which is killer, right? But I only went a very small speculative size. As you can see, just a very, very tiny $12 position because of how sketchy it was. But I still wanted the trader to learn from it. And again, I was in right here at 12. And the idea is that, you know, downtrending, it got as low as 10 cents and now it's kind of like uptrending, right? So in theory, it can get past VWAP, and if it's super nice, it'll get to 16, 18, maybe it'll even try the day high and it'll continue there, you know? But this one did not work out. Clearly, you can see how it failed and did not, again, work. And I don't take it personally anymore. I'm starting to get better at that, you know, not all setups are going to work out, and it's not because I'm a loser or I suck. It's just that some setups are not going to work out. But in theory, I trade setups that tend to work out more often than not. And I got out at 10.15, same price at 12, right here at 12, 10.15. I was in it for 5 minutes, it didn't work out. Is there a reason why I sold? Yeah, I had a trend line as well, and it just didn't work out. I'm not sure again from what point I had the trend line, but I clearly had one, and it just did not follow it, so I got out when it broke it. And I'm glad that I stuck to my plan in that sense, because it didn't work out. And if you're kind of confused as for the trend lines and stuff like that, if you go to the video I published on the 5th, or again on my profit lead trades, you can see where I go over it in much more detail. But this was another break-even trade, and I'm lucky that I sold for break-even, because this one was very hard to trade in terms of getting in and out, because it was a wide spread and not many prints. Let's look at AMC for the 5th. Yeah, right there. Fifth is right here. And this was a double bottom off support level. So very similar to the other AMC trade where I noted previously, you know, the one I was playing off for $22. Let's go ahead and look at this. I was in at 1046 at 22, let's just say 22.25. So I'm gonna probably zoom in a bit more. So 1026 right here, right? Let me make sure. I think that was wrong. 1046. I knew that was off. It just it didn't make sense. Right here, 1046 at this 22.25 level. I probably got in because I had that bottom right here at this 22.15 level, and then it kind of came back to it. Although not really a double. Yeah, no, it is a double bottom. It is just around the level. Maybe not exactly, but I got in because, again, very similar to the other one with $22. You know, that other trade with AMC, I thought it was going to be a double bottom, and I got in for that reason at 22.25. I got out a little later, 1054, at barely higher than my entry, 22.25, 75. So let's look at 1054. Right here is when I got out completely. And I'm pretty sure I got out because this one also failed the trend line that I was thinking about. Let's just see if it works. Probably had a trend line maybe from right here to maybe the wick of this candle, I'm gonna guess. I didn't mean to remove it. Like that. Let's see when I sold again, just to confirm. I got out at 1054. And I got out 1054 right here, right before it breaks it. So I probably got out because it looked like it was going to break it right here, right then and there. It did the next minute. But yeah, I clearly threw a trend line, and you know, when it broke it, I got out. And that has really helped me hold on to setups longer. And on top of that, you know, be more profitable because I am holding on to setups longer. It kind of gets the emotion out of it. I'm just selling as soon as it breaks the line. It's not about, oh, I think it's topping here. Oh, I think it's topping here. It might top here. It's kind of hard to read stuff like that on listed stocks. And, you know, this trend line helps me with that. And on OTCs, where it is easy to read stuff like that, at least compared to listed stocks, trend lines are still nice. It gives me a guideline. And, you know, a lot of it is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It seems like a lot of people use trend lines, and if it fails, they get out too. So it makes it realistic. Very good attempt. It didn't work out here, as you can see, but I did get out of it basically break even. Let's look at PUGE for the 5th. Another high day breakout. Right here, so yeah, is the next day. Just highlight it. Right about here. Actually, I'm going to highlight it, bring it closer, but just keep in mind that it did get as high as this 4 level. Oh wait, actually, this was later in the day. I was like, this looks like the thing I went over previously. That is the trade I had earlier, but I went for the high day breakout again. So let me just highlight this entire day. Again, this was my first trade right here. This was a second high day attempt later in the afternoon. As you can see, this was at 2 o'clock. Let's look at that. My entry was at 2:13 p.m. 36. Right here, 2:13:36. I mean, it was a high day breakout, but maybe it should have been better with my entry because it was really off of this 34 level right here at 2:03. But I got in it much later at 36, and instead of getting it at 34, I got in it at 36 later, and that makes a big difference on a sub penny. But yeah, it seems like I got in it, but that was not really the breakout. I mean, I guess it was a bit of a chase perhaps, but not the exact same level. I guess it wasn't too bad because the tippy top here is 35 and I'm in at 36, but yeah, let's see. I got out of it at 217 at the same price. 217. So I actually got in and out while it was still trading in the same range. I probably felt like maybe there was too many sellers at the ask or maybe too many people dumping their shares at the bid. And, it did lead to this downtrend. So maybe there was somebody trying to sell a bunch of shares or just a bunch of selling in general, and it did push the price down. And I did see something like that was potentially going to happen. But it did continue on with the breakout, and it's got as high as this 40 level. So it kind of worked. I was on the right track, but yeah, I put kinda as in did the setup work. And this was a break-even trade. I didn't make her lose anything. And it says right here, I didn't like how the level 2 was. Okay, so yeah, probably in this case here, there were a few times when it broke past 36. And there were people now at 37 and 36 at the bid, but then it would just go back and went a really uptrend. So I got out for that reason. I didn't try it again, but it did get to 40, just not right here, That's pretty interesting. I'm gonna get a drink of water and I'll be back. We still have a few trades to go over, but it looks like another high day breakout with PUGE. Okay, I am back and let's go over the last trades. PUGE is a high day breakout for the 6th, so let's look at PUGE for the 6th, which is going to be the next day, as you can see right here. I mean, it did continue right here for a brief amount of time, but it did sell back off. But at the time, it was still uptrending. Let's look at the 6, which is going to be right here. You can see how it sold off at the end of the day. I'll probably just zoom in a bit closer so we can see the trade better. This was the same thing as the other trade with PUGE, very similar, except this one was different because it did open a bit lower. As you can see, it was at 38, and the other day it did top at 40. So I had in mind that, it was going to not just be a level where it breaks out of 38, as you can see right here at the top of this candle, but it would also have to make a move and break, ideally the 40 level, which it did not really do initially, but let's go ahead and take a look at my entry, which was at 933, 36.75. That was the entry right here, 36.75. So I was in right here at 933. So probably, I guess, near the bottom, right around here was when I got in. And the idea was that I was going to be in it for that reason, that it was building up. As you can see, it was at, I guess, the lower 36 level, maybe exactly 36, and when I got in it was like 36 against 75, so in the middle. But I had that mind not mind, but that mindset that it was gonna break this level and continue the uptrend, and we did get that. I got out at 936 at 395 right here, 936 395. So I probably got out near the bottom, and that's fine. You know, I was probably scared that it wasn't gonna actually break the 40 level and maybe downtrend and be the first red day, which I mean it did become a red day, but not, you know, at the end of the day in the morning I thought maybe it was gonna uptrend and fail 40 and then, you know, downtrend and maybe become red on the day. And it did have a wick right here, so I'm actually happy with the way I sold this one. Honestly, I mean it did get higher, it did break 40 eventually and get to 42, but I actually don't mind where I sold this one at all. The only thing I had wrong here is that I was not sized correctly. As you can see, my dollar risk level was $5, so I should have had 50,000 shares here. And you might be wondering, how did I calculate that? Well, I put in this right here where I'm going to cut the trade if it doesn't work out. So in theory, I was going to get out if it were to have broken 36, and then I'm out worst case at 35. And then I put right here what my limit entry price was. So, you know, even though I got in at 36.75, I put my limit at 37. So I just put a simple calculation, and then it just tells me what, you know, was going to be my, you know, amount lost if it didn't work out and I had to cut losses at the very bottom where it could have realistically have been. Yeah, and it just didn't work out in that sense that it didn't get much further past 40, at least confidently, but it did uptrend. It broke 38, and that was a trade I took there. Let's look at the next trade, which is a morning panic bounce play with ABML on the 6th. Right here, we'll probably just highlight the beginning part so it looks clear. Get rid of the pre-market price action. I was in at 939 at 141. Right here at 141. Why did I get in? It looked like a morning panic bounce play, but I'll be honest, I didn't have much faith in this one because it's a higher priced OTC. They don't tend to work that well, but I was in it right here at 141. I did not trade a $10 risk level because I guess I was close, but I didn't trade a $10 risk level. Should have maybe have been double the amount of shares that I had, but I just didn't feel comfortable with it. Even though it was a, you know, panic and everything, it was a higher priced OTC. They don't work that well again. And I didn't like how VWAP was right here at 144, and I'm in at 141. It just seems too freaking close, just 3 pennies. I felt like it might not do it. And a lot of these where the VWAP is super close to where it's trading, downtrends and doesn't play out, doesn't work out. But this one, as you can see, worked. It got as high as 150. Not the best range, but I mean, it did play out just looking at the chart, not, you know, paying attention to the price. The chart definitely played out. I got out the next minute at 142.5. Right here, right at 940. Okay, exactly 940 right here. Right here was when I got out. You know, I was in right here, and I got out right here. It did like hold itself a little before uptrending, but that's fine. I just didn't have that much confidence in this type of thing, and you know, it did play out again. But if this was like a 1 cent stock instead of a $1 stock, I definitely would have traded properly, more size, and I probably would have held better. So that was fine for what that was. Let's look at the next trade, which is actually all CYBL over 2 days. Let's look at CYBL for the 7th, and this is a high day breakout. Right here. Yeah, definitely a breakout. At least looking at a daily chart, but let's see. The 7th which was a continuously uptrending day. Pretty impressive. I think I traded this one twice. No, actually it was just once. Okay, yeah, so this was later in the day when I traded it. Okay, I remember this trade. I did not have the right amount of shares here. This was another speculative trade because I was on my laptop and the garage, and I wasn't constantly looking at the laptop. I was doing other things, so I did trade just a small position, but If I was on my main computer here, I would have traded 10,000 shares, right? And that would have been a, you know, $8 risk level. I didn't have the best sell here, but I did take the trade. Let's look at 224, 212. Right about here is when I got in, 212, and it just looked like something that was going to play off of a breakout off of this, I guess this 21 level here. You can also say it was breaking off of this 19 level, whatever, you know, works best for you. But I did get in because it looked like it was totally, you know, trying to uptrend and make a move towards the upside. If I can remember where it was, I think it was here again. Let me see. At 224. Oh, right here. 224 right here. Yeah, and it did close super strong, but a little too strong. That was it. And I got out 236. So I actually held on to this one, but not very long. 215. So 236 was right here. And I got out at 215. Why? Because even though it did make a top, and let me just zoom in a bit more, right? And I got in at 224, which was right here, 224. I had a trend line and it broke it. It's gonna be hard to guess where it was, but we'll try. But in theory, again, I was in right here at 212, 224, and when it started to break the trend line, at this point right here, I did get out at that 215 level. Obviously, it's still above it using this one, but the way I had it probably showed that it was breaking it, and I got out, and I did sell at a top, right? It did downtrend, but this was a higher low. And again, that's the thing I want to play off of, where I'm in a setup, it makes a high, it makes a higher low, you know, and I risk my entry or maybe my original risk level, and it keeps uptrending, and I can be able to profit a lot more. That's something I want to do and get better at, just like that trade with AMC. Very good move towards the upside. I hope I can get better with that. Again, I don't mind my size right here because I wasn't on my main setup. I wasn't looking at it actively every minute. But this was a pretty good learning experience. Let's look at CYBL for the next day, which is the 8th. A morning panic balance play, an early one. Let's look at CYBL for the 8th. Probably right here. I'd say that's pretty good. Let's look at the first trade, 931, 212, the same price, 212. Right here. So when did I get in? This was a morning panic bounce play, a very quick one, an early one. I don't like these so much, but in theory, I saw the downtrend. I saw the level 2 turnaround, and I got in it right here at 212, and I was in, I think, a proper amount, 10,000 shares. Yeah, that's right, and I got out the same minute at 219 in this green candle. So I got out right here, and why? It was above VWAP. It also had a big spike. Ideally, it would have uptrended slowly and gradually, and then I would have had more confidence holding on to it. But, you know, I'm in it right here, and I want that level 2 turnaround. But then it just shot up like crazy. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sell into that. And the only thing I think I could have done better was maybe wait for the candle to at least close. But I was worried that it might be like DPLS, where it has a big red candle, closes, green candle, and then a red candle, and then a green, and then it might break the day low and do something crazy. That's how DPLS trades. But uh, yeah, I would have liked it a little more if I just sold after this minute closed, even if it were to have been for less. Let's see what a sell at 22 would have been. That would have been nicer. Probably would have felt better, but this was still pretty good for what that was. Again, a very quick morning panic bounce play, a very early one at 9:32. Let's look at the next trade. Same day, and this was a late morning panic bounce play. So ideally, a morning panic bounce play is before 9:40, but this one, as you can see, was already around the 10 o'clock level. But this was the ultimate morning panic bounce play. This was a little quick turnaround, but this was the proper morning panic bounce play. And I'm very happy that I tried it on this trade. It didn't work out, perfectly, but I could have tried it right here when it uptrended and it came back, but I was kind of thrown off from the price action. I was in at, yeah, 955, 199. Excuse me. Right here, yeah, that cake is getting to me. Right here at 955 I was in, and it just looked like it made a bottom. I liked how I think it was playing off of this 2 cent level where it breaks it, and then there's panic, and then it kind of comes back, and I thought, all right, this might have been the thing where people were just dreading that it doesn't break under 2 cents, and then it breaks it, and they all freak out and look at the big volume, and then it comes back officially, and I thought I was going to be in it for that reason at 955 at 199, and I got out the same minute at 198. And the reason why I got out of this trade so quickly, as you can see with my notes, is that there was a big seller that showed up at 2 cents, and that killed the vibe so bad. It made it look like it was going to be this thing where it downtrends, and then I'm in it for right here. Then a big seller shows up, and everybody panics, and it freaks out, and it breaks the day low, and I'm out for a loss. So I cut it right then and there. I would have had to have held through these few minutes of craziness, and then it did get to 205, and it did top out here because there were a lot of sellers at 205. The big seller at 2 cents disappeared and it uptrended, but I don't mind that too much. I could have tried it right here when it came back to that level, but that was a pretty good trade for what that was. And yeah, just lost a tiny amount, 50 cents, but I'm very happy with the way I traded it. And now let's look at the last one. This is a morning panic bounce way higher low, so in theory this is a morning panic bottom, and then this is a higher low, and the goal that it would be a nice move towards the upside. VWAP will be the go, and maybe even above VWAP. Those are nice too. And let's look at that last trade. I was in at 1104, 202. So right here, 1104, 202. I did see this turnaround, but I hated how, it just jumped from here to here on the level 2, and that threw me off. But after it held itself for a few minutes, I thought I could try again, and maybe not being at the best price, which would have been this 198 level, but at least it showed some consolidation so that it didn't just pop off right here and then sell back off. So I was in right here at 202, and I got out 1111 at 2034, so barely higher. Right here, 1111 is when I got out officially. And I sold in 2 pieces. I probably still have the try, as that was the last trade. But as you can see, I did get in right here. And then I sold one, not one half, but more than half right here while it was still uptrending. Again, the thing that, I'm selling it while it's still uptrending, so that if it fails, if I have to cut the trade for whatever reason, at least I don't cut the entire trade for a loss or maybe for less. And I sold again 3,000 of my 5,000 shares here. And then I saw the last piece when it broke this trend line that I used probably off of this candle to this candle here, the first one that was before the uptrend, and when it broke it right here slightly, I got out. It did get a bit higher. Maybe I could have sold the last piece a little better, but because I was a little too picky with how it just a little bit broke the level. But I'm very happy, honestly. I think that was a pretty good trade for what that was. And yeah, that's about it. I hope I can continue to do better and trade more size and stick to my dollar risk level. That was something I could have done much better. Keep using trend lines, keep trying to sell better. And if anybody here who's watching this has any questions, you're welcome to leave a comment below, and I'll try to get back to you. That was pretty good. I just hope I can, keep going, God willing, and yeah, we'll see what the future brings.